Hello there, my name's Roger and I'm a chef with UK Harvest Food Rescue Charity, and today we're making a vegetarian spaghetti bolognese. Right then, so what ingredients are we going to need? Right, we're going to need some green lentils. This is the type you don't need to soak overnight, so that's going to speed things up. You're going to need a couple of aubergine. You're going to need about 4 or 5 cloves of garlic, an onion, about 200 grams of mushrooms, a couple of leek, 2 or 3 carrot, a couple of sticks of celery. You're going to need obviously a packet of spaghetti, good old tablespoonful of tomato puree. You're going to need 1 of each pepper, a yellow, red and orange, let's say, a couple of pods of vegetable stock, 2 tins of chopped tomatoes, good old tablespoonful of oregano, and a good old couple of tablespoonfuls of olive oil. Okay, so first things first, I need to prepare a couple of ingredients. So I've got my oven on, turned to 200 degrees, and I've got some water on now for my lentils. So this is the lentils in their dry state. You can buy tinned lentils if you prefer, which you could kind of cut out this part of the process, but I like to cook mine. So I've got a pot of water on cold, in go my lentils, a couple of bay leaves, and a good old grind of salt. I'm going to bring that up to the boil, and then they're going to need about 25 minutes to cook. Right, now to prepare the aubergines, I'm just going to trim the stalky part of the end off, just tie that around, and then I'm going to cut it into strips first of all, because I'm aiming to get these into about a centimetre dice. So cut these nice slices, and then these slices, if it helps you can sort of stack them a little bit. Very easy to do. And then across the other way, then you get these lovely little bits of dice. So I'm going to do all the aubergines like that. So that's all my aubergines done, and I put it straight into a tray with some baking paper down so that's all non-stick. I'm just quickly going to add a drizzle of oil across that and a good bit of seasoning, not too much, like a bit of pepper. And I'm just going to then toss that together with my hands, making sure it's all lightly covered. And I'm going to roast these, as I said, in the oven for about 20 minutes or so, until they're a lovely golden brown. Then all that lovely kind of caramelization will really help with the flavour in this. So let's get that in the oven. Right, so I'm now going to start preparing my base. So my base is leeks, onions, celery and carrots. So I'm going to start with my leek. So I've split it through the middle already, right the way through. And I'm just going to give this a quick wash out in some cold water. And that just kind of washes out, as you can see, any soil kind of residue. So just give that a thorough wash. And I've already done the other piece. So great. Lovely. Right, so I've got my clean leek, and I'm simply just going to cut some more cuts along the whole length, right the way through. And then I'm just going to cut them down vertically. As you can see, I've got a lovely even dice out of that. Part of the beauty of doing something like a bolognese is you cut everything in a uniform kind of cut, so they haven't got any strange big lumps in the mix. Okay, so that's my leek prepped. I'm now moving straight onto my onion. So I've peeled it already, keeping the root on. That just goes straight through the middle, and then root away from you, and just do a few vertical slices down, 1 or 2 careful slices horizontally, and then down again the other way. And this is a great time to sort of use up onions and things, or any kind of veg that's looking slightly sort of, past its best. because once it's all cooked down, no one will ever know. So again, chop, chop, chop straight down, 1 or 2 cuts horizontally, minding your fingers, being really careful, and then vertical cut straight down, and that cuts that into a really nice even dice. Great. So right, that's my onion done. I'm moving straight onto my peppers. So simply take your pepper, cut around the stalk. Easily done. Being careful again, your fingers. Pull that out. Cut it through the middle. Trim the white pith out of the middle. Just do it very carefully. Give it a good old tap on the board. So we're now just going to cut that into strips. Again, fingers behind the blade, and then bunching them up together. We're just going to do vertical cuts now, again just to get them into nice little uniform pieces. And as I said before, the idea is that all this cut veg is of a uniform size. So I'll do all the peppers in exactly the same way. Right, so I'm on to my celery, again cutting it in a uniform dice with all the other ingredients. And celery really is a gorgeous kind of veg, and it just really helps kind of intensify the flavour of the whole thing. Right, so on to our mushrooms. I really want to get these down to a nice kind of fine chop, but the first thing I like to do is to slice them all up. Just makes it really easy with the chopping process. So I'm using absolutely stalk, skin and all. Just make sure always that they've had a thorough wash before you start. Right, so that's them all sliced. I simply now just need to start chopping. So initially I just do these large chopping motions, and then when I've got it to a point, then I just start chopping through like this, and I try and get it all down to a nice fine kind of level. Right, so as you can see, after a couple of minutes it's all come down to a really nice fine chop. Right, that's my lentils cooked, so I'm going to take them over to my sink now. Being very careful with the hot pot. Straight into my strainer. Good. I'm going to leave those to stay warm because they're soon to be going into my pot. Right, so it's been about 20 minutes. Let's get the aubergines out. Oh, they're looking good. So not only have they reduced in size, but they're also this lovely, rich, caramelized kind of brown, and that's really going to sort of help with all the flavoring in the Bolognese. Right, so for the herbs with this dish, I'm using fresh oregano. It simply looks like this, beautiful little leaves hanging from stalks. And to prepare it, you just get hold of them, pull the stalks through your fingers, pull off the little bits, and once you've got it all amassed, then you just very neatly just kind of give it a good old chop. I'm not breaking it up too much. And again, if you haven't got fresh oregano, just easily go to a supermarket and you can just get the dried tinned version. Right, so I'm cracking on with the cooking process now. So I've got my leeks, onion, celery and carrot. I've got them in my pot with a good old tablespoonful of olive oil. I'm going to cook these off until they're a lovely golden brown. Right, so that's my vegetable base really nicely browned off. And as you can see, it's reduced in volume massively. And it's really worth the effort of doing this because it will just really intensify the flavour, all that lovely caramelisation. So in next go my peppers, and I'm going to cook those out for a good couple of minutes. Right, so I've added my garlic and I've added my mushrooms, and I've let those cook out for a while. So I'm just now going to add a good tablespoonful of tomato puree. and my half a pint of stock. And I'm just going to let that cook out a little bit longer before I add my other ingredients. Right, so it's had about 10 minutes cooking now, so I'm now going to add my beautifully roasted aubergine, add that to it. The smells and flavours are fantastic already. So I'm going to give that another good 10 minutes cooking down, and then I'll be adding my lentils to it and my herbs. Right, so that's my bolognese pretty well there. It's been cooking for a good 30 minutes or so now. I'm now just very quickly going to add my lentils that I cooked off earlier. The reason I didn't add those right at the beginning was I don't want them to overcook. So really these are just kind of gently heating through now. And also my good tablespoonful or so of oregano. Get all that in there. So we're literally just going to simmer that for a few minutes while I get on with the spaghetti. So I've got my packet of spaghetti. I'm only going to need about 3/4 of this, so a good measured amount. That's going straight into my boiling water. We're going to bring that up to the boil, and then that's going to cook for about 11 minutes. Right, so we're pretty well there. I'm just going to check my bolognese mix for seasoning. Scrummy. Needs a little bit of salt and pepper. So don't be too shy, there's quite a volume of stuff there. Nice grind of pepper. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Give that a good stir through. And I've just checked my pasta, so I know that's done. So I'm going to drain that now. Everything's coming together. So turn that off, take it over to the sink. Lovely. Right, so here we go. I've just started serving up. So I love using tongs for this bit. It's so much easier, he says. Great, that's a lovely amount of pasta going in there. I'm going to get my sauce. So that has reduced beautifully, and that's a lovely rich sauce in there now. I think you'll agree that looks pretty damn terrific. Lovely, and it just remains for a little sprinkle of cheese on top. So there we have it, our fantastic homemade veggie bolognese using predominantly aubergine and lentil. It's absolutely packed with vegetables, it's super nutritious, really healthy. The kids will love it. So it just remains now for me to try some of this. Can't wait. That's absolutely gorgeous. Go away and make it yourself.